Can you play Final Fantasy XIV solo? If you're asking this question, then you're probably someone who is just like me. A few months ago, I didn't want to play an MMO. I still don't want to play an MMO. I want to be able to play games on my own terms. I don't want to have to talk to anybody. I don't want to have to coordinate schedules, but I do want to play a game with a good story. So despite my reluctance for playing an MMO, a few months ago, I finally decided to give Final Fantasy XIV a try, and I'm so glad I did. Hi, my name is Heather, and in this video, I want to try to convince you, the casual, solo adventure-seeking gamer, that not only can you play Final Fantasy XIV solo, at least for the most part, as of me making this video, but that it's totally worth it. I'm also going to walk you through the very few times that you do have to play with other people, what you can expect, and how you can optimize your solitary experience in Final Fantasy XIV. And all of this is based on my personal experience of playing most of this game totally solo. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about the story, because if you're not interested in the MMO aspect of Final Fantasy XIV, you're probably looking to play this game because of the story, or the RPG aspect. I'm a lifelong gamer, and I've played many an RPG, and I can confidently say that Final Fantasy XIV is one of the best video game stories that I've been able to enjoy. But I don't want to hype it up for you. What I can say is, if you're looking for a good video game story, Final Fantasy XIV is definitely worth a try. Ben agrees. It took me about 350 hours to get through the main story. That's playing through A Realm Reborn and all of the expansions up until this point, which I know sounds like a lot in terms of video game stories, but it was such a treat. Final Fantasy XIV is made up of A Realm Reborn, which is the base game, and then the first expansion is Heavensward, then Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and then Endwalker. And each expansion builds off of the last, the same way that a show with multiple seasons builds on each other. Now is the perfect time to get into Final Fantasy XIV because Endwalker, which is the most recent expansion that came out, kind of tied up a big arc. Sometimes I wonder, what would it have been like if I just happened to play Final Fantasy XIV a few years earlier when Shadowbringers wasn't out yet or Endwalker wasn't out yet? And it's not like it would have felt incomplete because every expansion kind of is its own arc, is its own story, but especially playing all the way through Endwalker, it definitely feels like a natural ending of a chapter, starting of a new one. There's also a ton of optional content and multiplayer content that contains more lore, more story, more background, but it's not required to progress through the main story quests. Now, let's talk about mandatory multiplayer. Depending on when you're watching this video, Final Fantasy XIV might already be completely 100% soloable, but when I played in early summer of 2022, there were a few times where I did have to party up. So I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that you can play through all of A Realm Reborn totally solo. The bad news is that your first mandatory multiplayer thing is a 24-player raid. If someone had told me that before I downloaded Final Fantasy XIV, I'm honestly that may have been enough for me to just not even try. That's how anxious I was about playing with other people. My first thing would have to be playing with 23 other people. Are you kidding me? So you're actually gonna have to do two 24-player raids, and this is for the Crystal Tower questline, which is the patch, I think it's the patch content of A Realm Reborn. So it's between A Realm Reborn and Heavensward. But I promise you, it's not as bad as you're thinking. I'm talking about myself, who is super anxious with playing other people. So here's what you need to know going into these 24-player raids. First of all, by the time you get to these raids, you're already going to be level 50. You're already going to have put in a significant amount of time to get to this point in the quest line where I think you'll have more confidence in playing with other people. That being said, it's still terrifying to play with 23 other strangers. When it's time for you to do these raids, all you have to do is go to the duty finder, and you'll see here at the top, these icons are for the dungeons, these icons are for the trials, and these two icons are for the raids. So under the raid icon for A Realm Reborn, you can just select the raid that you need to do and then hit join. From there, you'll automatically be matched with 23 other people and the duty will begin. The good thing with getting into a 24-player raid is that honestly, if all you did was just stand there, everyone is going to be fine. Especially as a newbie who has no idea what's going on, is probably not very good at playing your character yet, whatever you think you're going to contribute is probably not going to make a significant difference compared to all the other veterans who know what they're doing. When you get into a 24-player raid, everyone is split into 3 groups of 8. So all you have to do is check which group that you're assigned to and stick with that group. So this stream is actually from when I played my very first 24-player raid. And the thing I want to show you is here, I know it's kind of hard to see, but it says that I'm in Alliance Group C. So those are the people that you want to stick around with, right? You might either be in Group A, B, or C. So just check which group that you're in and stick with that group. Run with them, run around, like if they're trying to avoid attacks and stuff like that, like stick around with somebody, you're going to be fine. And even if you do die, like there's healers, they'll take care of you. It's totally fine. Another thing you want to do is limit the visuals for the spell effects, because when you have 24 people's spell effects all going off at the same time, it's going to be total chaos. So head on over to your menu, and then under system, you can go to character configuration, and then under control settings, and then the character tab, you can scroll down here and you'll see battle effect settings. I like to leave mine all on, but for the party and others, I have it set to show limited. Both raids are like 20 to 30 minutes long, so they'll be over before you know it. And once you're done, you can go back to enjoying Final Fantasy XIV solo. Now, when I went through the main story, there were a few times in Heavensward and definitely in Stormblood where you had to party with other people for duties. For the duties, there are dungeons, which are 4-player duties, and then there are trials, which are 8-player duties. All of Shadowbringers and Endwalker was already soloable when I played, so that was super fun. And what I mean by soloable is that you still have to go through the duties, right? You still have to play through the dungeons and the trials, but instead of partying it up with other people, you get to party with NPCs. When it's time for you to do a duty, you'll be able to access that duty through either Duty Finder or Duty Support. Duty Support allows you to access the dungeons or the trials using NPCs, and then Duty Finder will allow you to match with other random players. So if I go to Duty Support here, you'll see here are all the dungeons for a Realm Reborn. I could just select Sastasha right here, and then I have these random NPCs that are going to go through the duty with me. But say your duty isn't listed here for some reason. If you go to Heavensward, there are some that are still grayed out because they're working on making them accessible with NPCs. So say you had to go to the Great Google Library, it's not accessible through Duty Support, then you can go to the Duty Finder. So in the Duty Finder, it works pretty much the same way. You'll have all the list of duties that you can access here, and then when you click on one, this will automatically match you with other random players that are either looking to do that specific duty or just looking to do duties in general and get the rewards that comes with participating in the Duty Roulette Duty Finder system. In later expansions, you'll get access to the Trust system, which is very similar to the Duty Support system in that you're still playing with NPCs, but instead of being partied with any random NPCs, you are partied with NPCs that are actually part of the story. If you ever get into a duty where you have to play with other people, you'll already have your sprout icon next to your name, which tells everybody that you're new to this game. And what I did was I just typed into the chat at the very start of the dungeon that this was my first time doing this duty, and bear with me because I'm still learning. And everyone the entire time I've played Final Fantasy XIV was super helpful and supportive. And lastly, as someone who really didn't want to play an MMO but has finished the main story quest of Final Fantasy XIV, do I still play this game solo? So I can say that I have been able to get over my fear and anxiety of playing with other people. And as far as the things that I've been able to experience with multiplayer, they've been super enjoyable. I'm sure there's still a lot more that I have to discover, but the multiplayer aspects that I've been able to dabble with have been fun. But I do still prefer overall playing solo, and here's why. Typically when I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, I'm playing here in the living room. Here is Finley, our corgi, and this is Ben, and this is my husband. Hi.
Hello.
He's got his own gaming setup. He's doing a flight simulator right now, but we have our living room set up where he can play games and I can play games at the same time.
Quality time.
Check out my ultimate gaming setup here. I've got my recliner chair and I've got my Bluetooth keyboard and my controller. And so when I'm playing, I'm just like this. I'm just hanging out with the boys and we're having a good time. I think it comes down to how video games fit into my life. Yes, it's been awesome playing with other people, and especially playing when I'm streaming, and some viewers have been able to meet with me in game while I'm live. Like, that is super cool. But at the end of the day, like, I usually play first thing when I wake up, like 5, 6 in the morning. And like the last thing I want to do is like start engaging with people. Like it takes work, right? It takes effort for me to be multiplayer ready. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just, it's not the default for me. And I do want to reiterate that Final Fantasy XIV has so much more to offer. I mean, especially if what you're trying to get out of this experience is a good story. There's so much more lore and background and it's just a whole another world to supplement the main story. And I think some people would even argue, how is this not part of the main story or required for the main story, because some of the lore that you get just seems so integral to the whole thing. All of that is there if you're willing to venture into multiplayer content. And again, I will say this because it's totally true. In all of the hours that I have played Final Fantasy XIV, everyone has been super supportive, kind. Like whenever I did say that, hey, this is my first time doing this dungeon, there was almost like this sense of, I don't know, mentorship or camaraderie of like, people would say, oh, enjoy the story, like enjoy the cutscenes. I recently did a review video about Final Fantasy XIV and my experience as a new player in 2022. And if you look at the comments underneath that video, there are literally hundreds of people chiming in on how supportive the Final Fantasy XIV community is. Veterans are chiming in saying that they love new players, they love Sprouts. People who are recent Sprouts or sharing their experience as a Sprout will say that everyone has been super positive. So if you need that encouragement, if you need kind of that like, hey, you're gonna be okay, especially if you're like super hesitant to do this, I encourage you to scroll down to the comments underneath that video and see for yourself. So again, even though I had no intention, like I was just a line I was not willing to cross. I had no intention of playing this game with other people ever, but slowly I've felt more comfortable, you know, as I've gotten more confident in the game, and now I look forward to it. I still prefer playing solo, but I love that the multiplayer aspects and features are there for whenever I want to be able to enjoy them. So if you want to play Final Fantasy XIV solo and only focus on the main story quest, you can play the game at your own pace, which is why I binged the whole thing in 2 months, because I could not get enough of the story. Of course, there are fantastic multiplayer aspects to Final Fantasy XIV, like PvP, raiding, free companies / guilds, a bunch of other stuff, but all of that is optional. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't watched my review video yet about Final Fantasy XIV, you can check it out here. Catch you in the next one. Bye!